Rockford Urban Ministries has a 20-year history of sponsoring summer urban work groups who volunteer in low-income neighborhoods in and around Rockford, Illinois, doing home repair and maintenance projects. Of course, youth are a vital part of this ministry. We welcome Stanley Campbell, Executive Director of Rockford Urban Ministries. Stanley, can you tell us a little bit about the Rockford community?
It's a poor community. It's northwest of Chicago, about 90 miles, but now it takes about 2 hours to get downtown. Rockford is about 250,000 people. Used to depend upon the automobile industry, but a lot of those jobs went south. And so the community is heavily divided, moderate and wealthy on one side of the river, and poor and wide variety of nationalities on the other side of the river. And I dare say, though, it is a loving community, has a lot of churches, about 350, very good social service programs, and it's hopeful, which is one reason why I like working for Rockford Urban Ministries.
Tell us about Rockford Urban Ministries.
The organization is supported by the 20 United Methodist churches in the area. It picks out social service ministries that it can support and begin and work on. It works on social justice issues. Every now and then I get to say something nasty about guns or war, or hopefully lift up people in poverty, encouraging the churches to come out of the pews and work in the community, bring God's love out of the buildings and into people's hearts. And I think this is where we got started, was fixing up houses right around the churches. And there were a number of boarded up homes there, very affordable. We could pick them up for $20,000, $30,000, put about $20,000 or $30,000 into these homes, have a family occupy them. They'd only be worth probably about $40,000 or $50,000, but it would be warm and safe and clean, and would help the neighborhood become more neighborly.
And how do the work projects, work camps, help build up this community project?
We were doing it with volunteers locally, and then we went after a pornographic bookstore just 2 blocks away from a series of houses we were working on. And lo and behold, when we secured the building, people showed up from Sterling, Illinois, and Rock Falls, and Freeport. And these church groups brought kids, and they taped everything that they didn't want to paint, spray painted the interior and the exterior of the building, and then left some donations. And I thought, this is a good mission. This is a good project. So we began to invite church groups into Rockford and place them with nonprofits in the community.
And how do they find out about it? How do they find out about your project?
It was word of mouth at first, and then the Northern Illinois Conference of the United Methodists began to put it on their websites and their newsletters and begin to encourage some of the area churches to visit Rockford. If not for a day, maybe for a few days. We found churches in the community that would host these work crews, and so they get the run of a kitchen. They get sometimes one of the churches has showers even for the work crew. So it's a way of providing everything that the work crew needs plus the work. And a lot of times they've come in and saved a nonprofit organization a whole heck of a lot of money, and left some real lasting projects there.
So what's an average day like in one of these projects?
Well, one of them is usually like a home within the neighborhood. Elderly, handicapped person has some trouble maintaining the home. We want to keep the family within the home, so we will go over, survey the needs, make sure that it's something that our volunteers can do. And then as these work crews apply for now a week, and sometimes most of the time in the summer, they will then be assessed as to what can you do? Who are the volunteers that you're bringing? Most of them are kids, but the adults are the key. If we can get adults that have carpenter or plumbing or electrical skills, then we can actually place them in these homes. They begin to meet with the families that are there. They sometimes have a good long-time relationship. They can come back years later and see the work that's been done, visit with the family. It's a wonderful way of sharing God's love, because the kids, they're coming from a long way now. I mean, this next year we'll have them coming from Oklahoma, from Alabama. They're coming a long way, and yet when they come here, they will meet someone, and over the week usually share the love of Christ with them.
How are churches in the area involved?
The churches themselves used to help with a lot of the work, but as the work got increasingly more difficult and more people applied, these work crews coming from outside of the city began to fill in and do the majority of the work. Now the churches provide a setting for them, oftentimes inviting the work crew to come to a meal, sharing a meal. Oftentimes the kids themselves will help later in the evening with the summer youth program or a Bible study. If they stay over the Sunday, then they can even join in with the Sunday worship service. So there's a good connection between the home-based churches in Rockford, Illinois, with those churches that are coming from a long ways.
How long have you been working on this?
This has been going 20 years, and we're very good now. We can take groups up to 100 people, and we can find places for them to shower, places for them to eat, and work for them to do. And that's the main thing. That sometimes the projects are a little bit more difficult, and we've had to make adjustments, but we have a good staff that will make sure that at least no one will get hurt, and that they won't do more damage than when they went in the first place.
Can you tell me more about your staff and the type of people that work on this with you?
We have a project manager who knows the ins and outs of a lot of the tools that's needed, a lot of the projects, and the physical layout. We have a schedule that is making sure we don't get too many people in at one time. And then we have individuals that are like gophers, that they get assigned to a work crew to make sure that their needs are met, because they're only going to be there for 4 days. These larger crews, they come in, if they run out of tools, we better have the tools there so that they can get the job done. There's a lot of nonprofits that have individual jobs that need to be done that doesn't need somebody that's expertise in them. We also have an environmental crew that is needed to go out in the environment. There's a farm that's being transformed back into a wetland. There's a number of parks that, because of the cost cutbacks, need some tender, loving care with the tools or the materials in the parks. So there's a wide variety. There's soup kitchens and food pantries. There's Bible study classes. There's English as a second language. There's a lot of places where we can put these volunteers in.
Yeah, so it sounds like a wonderful variety, a little bit of something for everybody.
Exactly, yes.
Where do you see this going in the future?
You know, I think what we would like to do is expand it beyond the summer. We have some spring crews that come in. We have 1 or 2 that come in the fall. We'd like to entice some of the churches to send volunteers over the weekend so that we don't have this wide rush of doing mission and ministry just in the summer, but we'd like to do it throughout the year. The needs of Rockford, like any poor community, are great, but the workers are plentiful too as well. And if we can just tie the two together, I think that we can really accomplish a lot.
So how do people get involved?
They can call Rockford Urban Ministries at 815-964-7111, or they can go to our website, rockfordworkcamps.org, and most of the information is right there. Many of the crews that have come before are more than happy to give us endorsements, and we can answer almost any question to make sure that they have a good experience in Rockford.
Thank you, Stanley, for joining us today and for sharing your stories and your mission. We really appreciate it. I'm Ashley Clark for Different Drummers and the Greater Chicago Broadcast Ministries. Keep the faith.